Hey guys, welcome back. It's Morgan. So today I'm going to be giving you guys my unpopular book opinions. I have a whole list of things that I wanted to talk about, and we'll just see kind of how far on the list we get. So the first thing I want to say is that I enjoy reading books on my Kindle more than I do physically. And that's something that is definitely a new development. I got my Kindle 6 months ago, so obviously before owning a Kindle, physical books was like the only way I could ever see myself reading. Um, I don't know, the idea of like enjoying a book on any kind of e-reader on my phone more than like a physical book just never crossed my mind. But as soon as I got that Kindle, it just had so many really cool features. And I think the best thing about that Kindle for me personally is how lightweight it is. I have very like weak I have like very weak wrists. Like I actually think I have a problem. Like I need to go see a doctor. But uh Kindle, reading on a Kindle just makes it a lot easier to hold it because it's going to be way um like smaller and lightweight than a book is. Also being able to read in any kind of light, whether it's pitch black or the lighting is weird or whatever's going on, there's going to be no glare and I'm going to be able to read off my Kindle. It's always going to be a plus. So that's my first unpopular opinion. The second one is let's see if it's a hot take, y'all. I, well, I hate dark academia. Yeah, I know. I said it. Um, and it's funny because I say that, but then I also have to realize that I haven't really read a dark academia. Like the one book that you could put in the dark academia category is Babel by R.F. Kuang, and I DNF'd that book because it just was not my cup of tea. It was not my kind of book at all. And within that vein of dark academia, I also hate books set in like a school setting. I don't know why, but like it's very rare that I will like a book that's like in a school. So like high school, college, I'm usually not gonna like it. Even if it's like when I read um what's that book by R.F. Kuang? Where they're in like the wars going on. I can't think of it. But I didn't like that book either because I just don't like any kind of school where they're learning things. Like even Harry Potter, like the fact that they were in a school made me hate it. Like I just do not like school settings at all. It's such a weird thing to like realize, but I had realized that about myself that I just don't like them at all. Like it doesn't matter what you're teaching them, I don't like it. um Next thing, I actually made a whole video about this, so you guys should go check that out. But it's kind of my beef with YA books. I do not like reading YA books. It's going to be a very niche amount of books that I will like genuinely enjoy when it comes to YA. The only YA books that I will like pick up and actually believe I'll enjoy them are books that are super dark, hard-hitting, depressing, sad, or like violent. That sounds crazy, but that's just like those are my vibes. And so if I have to pick up a YA book, I want those things to be in that book, and if they're not, then I'm probably not gonna like it. Next thing is I kind of go back and forth this opinion, but I think I like movie adaptations more than TV adaptations. And the reason why I say that is because if I've already read the book, just like actually just happened to me with Agent Jones and the Six. So I read that book, I enjoyed it, loved it, and when that TV show came out, that limited series, I watched the first episode and I was like, not bad. It wasn't bad. But I also thought like I'm not gonna watch this. Like I'm not gonna waste my time. I don't know how many episodes it was, but I'm not gonna waste, possibly 10 hours of my life watching content like I've already seen in book format. And so for me, I feel like it's just way more digestible if it's a movie because it's a one and done situation. You sit down for 2 hours and you have been able to have that whole entire experience in one sitting versus um, reading a whole book. Because, books are long, y'all. It takes like 8 hours to read a book, 7 hours, 6 hours, right? So if I spend that much time reading a book, I don't want to spend double that time, you know, having that same content fed to me in a different format. I don't want that. But I also have to say that some books shouldn't be movies. because at the end of the day, unless you have like a movie franchise, you shouldn't do it because you're not going to be able to put everything that needs to be in there. Another reason why I usually don't like TV adaptations is for some reason they always get canceled. Shadow and Bone. Now, I never even read those book series, but like just knowing that show got canceled, it makes me feel really bad for those that love that series and that were looking forward to it, because when you have a book series and you decide you want to make it into a TV show or movie, like I feel like it's always going to be very unpredictable on if it's going to get renewed and if you're going to be able to finish that story that you're trying to tell. And so I just think making it into a movie is going to be way more digestible, and I just think it's better. So yeah. Next, ooh, this is a good one. So I prefer reading my books in first person. This is such an interesting take because I have done, like, I remember when I realized this, I would look it up. Like, what do people usually like to read their books and what point of view? And for some reason, first point of view was like not the most popular, which was really weird to me because I feel like most of the books I've read are first person. But yeah, example is Tomorrow. I read the first 2 pages of that book and I said, I don't want to read it. So I read like 2 pages and was like, I'm good, because it's not in first person and it was a complete turn off. And I just no. Like, especially if you're gonna make a book that's contemporary or romance, why wouldn't it be in first person? I just don't get that at all. I hate it. I really do not like books that aren't in first person. Like, a book really has to be amazing for me to be able to like not even realize it, which is rare. Next thing is, okay, so interesting take. When I'm reading a book, my favorite type of relationship in a book is going to be a male friendship. So I'm trying to describe this to y'all. So if I had to read a book where there was going to be 2 people and they were going to go on some journey, or they were going to have some random ass thing that was going to happen, my dream would have it be 2 males and they're just best friends. I would rather read a book with 2 guys being best friends versus a girl and a guy friendship, or a girl and a guy falling in love, or a girl and a girl falling in love, or a guy and a guy falling in love. I would rather have a book be 2 guys being best friends, having a brotherhood that would do anything for each other. I'd rather read a book like that than any other thing. And it is something that I've just learned about myself, and it doesn't matter what the media is. It could be a TV show, it could be a movie, it could be a book. I always am going to like cross my fingers that there's going to be some like best friend guys in the movie or the TV show or the book. Like, I don't know, I just love that. So if you guys have any recommendations of like books with like 2 guys that are best friends, let me know down below, because that's my favorite kind of relationship to kind of read and watch. The next thing, which is so interesting, and I do have to preface that I haven't read that many like romance books, but with all the books that I've read, I do have to say that I do not hate the pregnancy trope. Yeah,
what?
I said it. I don't hate it. And I think it's so funny that so many people hate it, and I don't really know why they hate it, but I have thought to like why I like it. And honestly, like, I think the reason why I like it is because I love drama, and usually when you throw a pregnancy in any kind of genre of book, it's gonna make the book way more drama. It's gonna bring way more drama to the book, way more chaos. It's just gonna make the book crazier, just like that. And so I love drama. So of course, let's add a baby into it. Let's do that. I think the main reasons when I hate the pregnancy trope is when it's given to characters that I hate. So if like I'm reading a book and there's a character that I despise and I wish they had less, screen time, and they get pregnant, I'm hating that. I'm immediately hating that, because they are automatically gonna get more chapters. They're gonna get more like point of views. Like, I don't want to hear what you have to say. I don't even like you. Why are you procreating? So yeah, I do enjoy the pregnancy trope, but not when it's for characters that I don't like. Okay. Ooh, this is another one. Let me get out some books that I've got. This one, and I've read 2 more, but I don't own them. I read It Ends With Us, and I read It Starts With Us. So the next thing I want to say is that I don't understand the Colleen Hoover hate. Now, I've seen, a handful of videos regarding Colleen Hoover and like why she's hated, or like why people don't like her books. And specifically talking about her books and like kind of the plot of them. I don't really understand why people hate on that, because I hear a lot of different discussions of people saying that they hate her books because she like, what's the word they use? Oh my god, glorifies. They're like, oh, she glorifies, let's see, with It Ends With Us, she glorifies abuse, or, whatever is going on in the book, she's always glorifying it. And I have never understood those, like, I never understood their points, because at the end of the day, books are stories, and books are there to represent, especially contemporary books that could happen in real life. They're meant to represent like a story that could potentially be real, that could happen. They're made to represent someone's life, someone's struggle, someone's pain, someone's happiness, someone's fears. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're there to show you a different perspective that you might have never thought about or cared about. And I don't know, I just find it very interesting, because at the end of the day, when it comes to It Ends With Us, at the end of the day, there are some people in relationships that are toxic. There are some people in relationships that are abusive. And that is just the truth of life, guys. That is the truth of living. That there are going to be evil people out there in the world. There are going to be broken people out there that take out their problems on the ones they love, right? And so I feel like it's kind of, it doesn't make, it logically does not make sense to me for people to be like, oh, how dare you put this in a book? What are you talking about? This is a real possibility. This is real life for some people. Some people live this day in and day out. And it's almost like you're saying, we can't put sad things in a book. Or we can't put, horrific things in a book. That's life. And books are supposed to represent life and stories and love and hate and pain. They're supposed to represent that. And I just don't think they understand that. Like, I just don't think y'all understand that, okay? Because they're supposed to represent that stuff. And okay, you've never lived that, but that doesn't mean that she can't put it in a book. Do you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, you know the trigger warning, so if you don't want to read about someone getting beat up, don't read it. Also, y'all acted like the main character didn't leave him after she got beat up. Y'all act like she just was okay with that, because that's not the case. All right, obviously she fell in love with this man. She loved him. He hit her once. I think it happened that one time, and she like let it go, or like brushed it off, because at the end of the day, most people are going to brush that shit off when it happens the first time, especially the way it happened to her in the book. Most people are not going to scream and yell bloody murder and leave. Do you know what I'm saying? And so after it happened again, and she's like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. After she dipped, and the way the book ended, where spoiler alert, she gave birth, and she was like, we can't stay with you. I can't stay with you. How would you feel if this was happening to our daughter? Would you want her to stay in this kind of relationship? I know you wouldn't, so I'm not going to. And so I don't know. The hate that y'all give to her is a little much when it comes to the plots of her books. That's all I have to say about that. Okay, I have 2 more, and these are like specific to certain books. So the first book is Gone Girl. I read that about 2 to 3 years ago, and that was the first thriller book I had ever read. Let's see, I had watched videos of like the best thriller books to read, or like, really good thriller books, and Gone Girl kept popping up. And I knew it was a movie, and so I was interested in reading it. So I bought it, I picked it up, and I started reading it. Now, I was honestly like 3 or 4 chapters in. As soon as like she disappears and like that, the whole plot begins, like that 3rd or 4th chapter, I thought to myself, what do I think is happening right now, Morgan? Like what could be this? What's this book about? And I swear to you, spoiler alert, I swear to you, I thought about it for 30 seconds and I was like, I bet you this bitch is psycho and she did it herself. I bet she trashed her house. I bet she set up all this shit and I bet she dipped. And I bet the husband did nothing wrong and he's just weird. And lo and behold, I was right. And that really pissed the fuck out of me, because for that to be the first thriller I ever picked up, and for literally every video I watched, for them to be like, I couldn't have guessed it. It was the craziest plot twist ever. I'm just like, what? Were we reading the same thing? That was like written in the stars, y'all. Like, what else could it have been? So that really nagged me, and I swear if I could review that book, I would give like a 1 star, just because of how pissed off I was that was the book. And I was like, yeah, I could have stopped reading at chapter 4. Like, okay. The other book I want to touch on is If He Had Only Been With Me. This is a book that I think I saw on like Book Talk, and I was like, okay, I'll pick it up. And like I said, that's YA. I don't even read YA, but Book Talk influenced me and I picked it up. That was the stupidest book I've ever read in my entire life. I saw people like crying over it and I'm like, what are you reading? Because all I read was some boring, sappy book about some girl who wanted a man. Bitch, you're like in high school. Calm the fuck down. You gotta take a breath, okay? You have to take a breath. What? If only he had been with me, he wouldn't have died. Girl, bye. I'm gonna need you to calm down, because now you're just making it about you. It was so boring. I hated every second of it, and never again. Okay? All right. The very last thing I want to say is I hate with my whole heart. I hate like time jumps. So whenever I'm reading a book, or like I'm reading the back of a book and it's like, ooh, a generational story about this, that, and this, I'm immediately turned off, because that lets me know that we're going to be jumping around in timeline, and I do not like that. I also do not like time travel, because we're always going back and forth between years. I don't like that. Like, if you're gonna do time travel, start at this year and never go back to that year, okay? Don't do this hopping and shit. I hate that. Also, I hate multiple POVs. I don't understand why that's necessary. I don't. And like, I saw some videos of like why people like multiple POVs, because I was trying to understand why. And they were like, oh, because I love to know what's going on in everyone's head. And I'm like, but why? I feel like that's boring. Like, I wanna like be in my own head about it. I wanna be like, okay, so I know what's going on in her head, but like, what is he thinking? Like, I think that's the cool part about reading book, is like, you only get what you get. I feel like when you get everything, like, what am I reading? I'm reading a miscommunication. That's what I'm reading. Boring. I don't want to read that. I want to read it from one POV, and and if she's in the dark, I'm in the dark. That's what I want. I think that's fun for me. But guys, those are my unpopular opinions. Y'all let me know down below if I'm crazy or if y'all agree. All right? Bye.